People believe that there's an evil cult that roams the Rio Grande at night. People have reported seeing and hearing strange things since 1706. People have been found beaten, murdered, and in one case, one man was tied nailed to a tree. Are these sick individual acts, or are these acts of a cult that terrorizes the Rio Grande? One night, there was a couple named Tim and Lori. They were just bored. They were driving around Albuquerque, and then they noticed the river, and they're like, hey, why not just park here and walk along the trail? So Tim and Lori pulled over. They both got out. Tim went to the trunk of his car. Tim pulled out a flashlight. Tim and Lori started walking along the trail. They're having a good time, they're laughing, just talking. It's really dark out there, though. Anyone who walks the Rio Grande at night knows you can't see your hand in front of your face. So they get a good little couple of miles into the Rio Grande, and they're like, whoa, we better turn around, like we're walking a little too far. We don't want to go too far. We've already walked about 2 miles. We got to walk 2 miles back. We don't want to make it harder on ourselves. So they turn around, and as they're walking back to their car, they hear a crackle in the distance. So they look up, and Tim shines his flashlight, and he looks further in the distance, and he sees a pack of coyotes. And Tim's like, oh my goodness, a couple coyotes ain't much. They're going to just run away. But if there's a pack, they might try to do something. So Tim has the idea that they're going to walk around the pack. So they get closer to the river. They walk off the trail, and they start walking along the river. And you could hear the water flowing. You could hear insects. You could hear just all kinds of weird stuff, like nature. And it's kind of scary because it's dark. And then all of a sudden, they just hear a splash. And it frightens them. So they stop and they look. So they're trying to get out of there, and they're walking fast, and they hear another splash. So they get even more terrified. So they start power walking, and it's so dark they can't see the root, and they trip over a tree root. And when they fall, they hear a laughter, like a woman's laughter, scary high-pitched laughter. And they're like, oh my goodness, they get up, they're terrified. They start running back to the car. And Lori's in track. She's a real fast runner, so she's booking it. She's just running to the car as fast as she can. And she thinks that Tim's behind her because she hears someone behind her. And she gets to the car, and she turns around, but Tim's not there. Tim's gone. So was it Tim that was behind her, or was it someone trying to catch her? But there's no signs of Tim. Terrified, she runs to Central because that's the nearest busiest road, and she runs to Central and she starts waving her arms. There's not that many people. She's just waving her arms, and there's a truck in the distance coming, and she's like, stop, stop, stop. The guy stops. She asks him if he can take her to the payphone. So he agrees. He takes her to the payphone. She tells him what she saw and stuff like that. They call the police. The police go back to the bosque where they were. The vehicle's still there, but there's no signs of Tim. So they start searching. They can't find no clothes. They can't find a body. They don't even see anything like people even running. They just see normal footprints and dog prints and stuff like that. Nothing out of the ordinary at all, but there's no Tim. So this goes on for a search all along the bosque from Bernalillo all the way to Las Lunas. They're looking for Tim, but they can never find Tim. Tim's missing. He's gone. They never found him. Another night, there is a gentleman by the name of Travis who was catfishing on the Rio Grande by Tingley Beach. It was around 2 a.m, so Travis started to get tired, and all the mosquitoes and everything were starting to get to him. So he's like, I just want to go home. So he wrapped up his equipment. He got all of his poles, his fishing nets, all that. And he started walking to his truck. And Travis noticed a light in the distance, flickering almost. It was just like a fire. So out of curiosity, he put down all of his equipment and he started walking towards the light. And as he got closer, he could hear mumbles. He couldn't really hear words or anything, just mumbles. And he got closer, and he saw about 6 or 7 people all dressed in cloaks around a fire, and they had a dog there. And the dog was panting, just out of fear. How dogs do that little panting noise. And he loved dogs. He wanted to stay quiet, but out of anger, he just screamed, hey! And when he screamed, hey, every single person that was around that fire, they just turned at him. And they just stared at him, and they were holding knives in their hand. And Travis didn't know what to do. He's like, I don't have nothing. I left all my equipment. I have a little fishing knife like this and my thing, but that's not going to do nothing. So Travis, scared, he runs back to his truck, man. He just hauls ass, leaves his equipment there. He's like, screw my equipment. I'm not even worried about it. Gets in his truck, goes to the substation. He lets the police know what he saw. So him and the police end up going back. Travis shows them exactly where he was. And when they go back, there's no signs of nothing. There's no signs of a fire. There's no signs of a dog. There's no signs of people. There's no signs of nothing. It's as if nothing was there, at all. So Travis is freaked out. He don't know. He saw what he saw, but there's nothing there. So he like thinks he's going crazy. And to this day, Travis don't know what happened. Now, who or what can be tormenting all these people along the Rio Grande? Can it be a cult? Can it be brujas? Can it be spirits? I feel like we may never know. But people keep on experiencing strange things on the Rio Grande. Maybe you have a story that you can share with us in the comments. Have you experienced anything on the Rio Grande, especially around Tingley Beach? Let us know.